The Savage X Fenty show is a continuation of Johnny Depp's redemption tour. I didn't want the news to be accurate when TMZ revealed last week that Rihanna had hired Johnny Depp for her upcoming Savage X Fenty Vol. 4 fashion show. I hoped against hope that TMZ had only been overly excited on a shoddy tip and unintentionally misreported a mere rumor, despite the fact that the tabloid had also broken the scoop that Depp would appear at MTV's Video Music Awards. I continually argued to coworkers and friends that once Rihanna's management noticed the criticism, his portion would be eliminated, even though the singer didn't dispute the rumors. When I did, I noticed him among the advanced screeners. The camera moves to an unlit tree exactly halfway through the performance, as a dozen shirtless male dancers go through a dark forest. A sloppy ponytailed Depp emerges from behind the trunk and starts to stroll toward the camera while humming outcasts so fresh, so clean. He is wearing what appear to be olive green silk pajamas, a matching robe, and his distinctive Venice Beach jewelry collection. The dancers flank Depp for a brief while as he resumes his stride. He smolders, smirks, and, mercifully, occasionally avoids looking directly into the lens. Less than a minute long, the cameo, reportedly the first ever male star segment on the program, ends with him hugging a different tree. In contrast to the remainder of the show, it's boring and so unnecessary that I'm still unsure of its purpose. Following the TMZ claim, fans of Depp cheered that Rihanna, a well-known victim of domestic violence, had apparently invited an accused abuser and purported victim to appear on the show. This provided furthermore proof that their demigod must be innocent. One fan tweeted, "Real survivors acknowledge real survivors." Fans of Rihanna questioned her staff, her publicist, and her way of thinking in the meanwhile. Depp's followers have unsurprisingly chosen to ignore the fact that, although winning the defamation trial in 2022, he lost his libel case against The Sun, the British newspaper that called him a wife-beater, in that same year. After hearing the numerous abuse charges made by the ex-wife Amber Heard, judge ruled that they were substantially true. The judge determined that 12 of the 14 claimed occurrences heard in court actually happened. The recent Fairfax, Virginia trial methodically repeated many of the details. Heard accused Depp of regularly abusing her sexually, fracturing her nose, kicking and hitting her, and threatening to kill her throughout the course of many weeks of testimony. Unsealed trial records that were made public as a result of a misguided Depp supporter movement simply confirmed the aforementioned. One of the frightening allegations involved a text message conversation from 2014 in which Depp's former assistant, Stephen Deuters, acknowledged an altercation that Heard had detailed during days of evidence, writing, "He was disgusted. When I told him he kicked you, he sobbed." Heard's team claims that Depp acknowledged the event and afterwards texted her the following, "I find myself in a position of sorrow and shame once more. Of course I apologize. I won't ever repeat it. My disease caught me by surprise. I regret disappointing you so much." Particularly bad were Depp's frightening text messages to Paul Bettany, Marilyn Manson, and others. "Before we burn her, let's drown her." Depp emailed Bettany, "To ensure her demise, I shall rape her burned corpse later." It's still perplexing why Rihanna would pick to support someone who has solid proof of abuse. Emma Gray, a columnist for MSNBC, speculated that she was merely acting as a smart businesswoman. Nothing in a late-stage capitalism culture sways people's values quite like a huge fat income. Depp is currently in high demand as a moneymaker, and the rich and famous have enthusiastically welcomed him back into their inner circle. That, in my opinion, is what makes her choice all the more frustrating. Since the dawn of time, alleged abusers have gained favor with the public by manipulating Hollywood's puppet strings, so it came as no surprise when Depp signed a 7-figure deal with Dior, made millions from his lousy artwork, launched a new album, received a major role in a forthcoming movie, and was given the opportunity to direct. Numerous examples will convince you that supporting a person like Depp is standard practice in the entertainment industry. Also vast swaths of the internet. But that rich businesswoman Rihanna might behave like. Given her personal past of domestic violence, she feels especially skeptical compared to any other successful business magnate. I'm old enough to recall Chris Brown's brutal assault on Rihanna in 2009. I also remember the photos that offered a sad proof of the assault's brutality, and were leaked by someone she described to Vanity Fair as a really nasty woman who thought a check was more important than morals. The two got into a verbal argument that quickly turned worse, according to a cop from Los Angeles' sworn declaration. After a neighbor dialed 911, police were called to the location, but Brown had already left and Rihanna was no longer recognizable. He received 5 years of probation after entering a guilty plea to 1 count of criminal assault, 180 days of community service and counseling for domestic abuse. Battle lines were drawn by everyone, including fellow rappers, business titans, and legions of followers in response to Amber Heard's abuse allegations. Lizzo recently defended Chris Brown, calling him her favorite person. Drake collaborated with Brown in 2019, and Eminem, who collaborated with Rihanna on a song about domestic abuse, rapped in 2011, "Of course I side with Chris Brown, I'd beat a bitch down, too." Despite the abundance of evidence and additional assault allegations, many people came together to support Chris Brown. On the 2022 song DMB, even a S.A.P. Rocky, Rihanna's current companion, made fun of the abuse. "I don't hit my bitch, I need my bitch. I'd be negligent if I didn't point out that Drake continues to have the power to refute the claims made by another lady, while Brown keeps earning platinum records and solidifying his position as one of the richest hip-hop artists." Given how frequently Rihanna has spoken out against domestic abuse, Depp's participation in the event is even more puzzling. When Snapchat in 2018 asked users if they'd prefer slap Rihanna or punch Brown in an offensive advertisement for a mobile game, the singer responded with a fiery statement urging the app to remove the ad immediately. "You let us down, all of the women, children, and men who have previously suffered from domestic violence, especially those who haven't yet made it out, because I don't have many of them." It's crucial to remember that Rihanna, like many other victims of domestic abuse, has since defended Brown and even worked with him on a song in 2012. Her connection with her own perpetrator is her business, and regrettably, she has made decisions like that before. In their lives, more than half of women have experienced physical abuse, according to the U.S. Justice Department. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention state that a full or attempted rape affects 1 in 3 American women, and 1 in 5 American women have experienced intimate partner abuse. It's possible that Rihanna had minimal involvement in the show's creation, and that the choice to hire what Gray called an in-demand moneymaker was made by her staff. However, this is also gloomy. "I will never be friends with Rihanna, a global superstar and millionaire businesswoman. Even though I told them that my ex used boyfriends of his suicide thoughts as a weapon, and insinuation that I was to blame kept me up for days on end. This decision still made me feel the same way as witnessing my peers attend his shows, or when I told previous teammates that a coworker had assaulted my body, only to have them cast doubt on me or treat me like a slut since I kept working with him. My attackers are married, prosperous, and, quite honestly, wealthier than I am. I've lost relationships, jobs, and prospects as a direct result of their choices, and I'm unable to pay for good counseling in the interim for how they irreparably ruined my life. And I still can't talk about what's been done to me in public because I know for sure that I'll be questioned, assessed, and then turned into a joke a la Amber Heard." I made light of Rihanna's decision to cast Depp when I first wrote about it. It's one thing to decide not to believe someone who reports abuse. It's also shady to like an alleged abuser's Instagram post, but deliberately providing the alleged offender additional platform that he didn't need. Perhaps Rihanna's fan base is too large and she is probably too wealthy to give it any thought. Depp's appearance nonetheless serves as a harsh reminder that even silk pajamas can help an alleged abuser's public atonement, even if it is a blink and you miss it moment.